Hello there. We are beginning a new letter. And as you can see, this letter appears to be familiar, but it's a little different. We studied the shin some time ago, and this looks a lot like the shin, but the dot is on the left side. This is a sin. This is a sin. You see here the English word sin, and it just happens to correspond to the English word sin that people recognize. In Judaism, we talk about hate, which is the Hebrew word for sin. By the way, in case you don't know this, the Hebrew word for sin, which is hate, is actually an old archery term. It's found in the Bible 3,000 years ago. And evidently, if you fired an arrow or shot an arrow at your target and you missed, you did a hate. You missed your target, you missed the mark, and that was a sin. And that became part of our core Jewish perspective on life. If you missed the target, you did a sin. What does that say about Jewish tradition? Jewish tradition is hopeful. So if you miss the target, what do? You try again. At the core of the idea of sin is let's try again to be better. Let's hit the target next time. And that's actually at the core of the entire Yom Kippur tradition. And now I've digressed a bit. So here's the letter sin. It's got a dot on the left. And you may not know this, but the origination in English of the word sinister is Latin, and sinister means left. Sinister is built upon two Latin words. Sin means without, and estra, like an estrogen, the right stuff. Estre is the right. Without the right stuff, sin estre, you are the left. Without the right stuff, you are the left. Well, hundreds of years ago, from a Latin point of view, if you didn't have the right stuff, you were the left, you were also bad. And that's how being without the right stuff, being on the left, became bad and gave rise to the English understanding of the word sinister, sinistre. So another digression, but now you might remember that the left dot is the s, and it's just memorization, folks. I'm sorry, we did not invent it, but it evidently made sense to our ancestors. This is the s sound. Line 1, sa, see, say, so, se, say. Repeat line 1. Sa, see, say, so, se, say. Pardon me. Let's go backwards. Say, se, so, say, see, sa. Line 2. Say. Oh, did you catch my mistake? Line 2. Shay, say, she, see, show, so, show. I'm going too fast. If I made a mistake, you might make a mistake as well. I will slow down. I apologize. Line 2. Shay, say, she, see, so, show. Line 3, slowly. Masa, sa, so. This is the shin. Sheva, sin. Safa, yisa, s. Let's go back to line 2 where I made the mistake before. Shay, say, she, see, so, show. Line 1. Sa, see, say, so, se, say. Line 2. Shay, say, she, see, so, show. Much better. Line 3. Ma, sa, so, sheva, sa, fa, yi, sa, s. Allow me to bring another lesson up. Again, highlighting the primarily the sin letter. We'll go slowly because I don't want to make any mistakes. Line number 1. I hope this is large enough for you to see comfortably. Line 1. Se, seem, sar, sam, sak, si. Line 1. Se, seem, sar, sam, sak, si. Line 2. The first word is a name, Sarah. In English, it becomes pronounced Sarah, but in Hebrew it is Sarah, Sarah. Line number 2, continuing, Sane, Samach, Eser, that's the number 10. Ose means makes or does. Very famous song, Ose Shalom, God makes peace, and we hopefully make peace as well. Last word on 2, Masa. Line 3, it's a shin, right-hand dot. Shara, Sarah, right-hand dot. Shama, Sama, right-hand dot. Sha'ar, left-hand dots. Sason. Line 3 again. Shara, Sarah, Shama, Sama, Sha'ar, Sason. Line 4. Left-hand dots so far. Sayar, Sayar, Sachar, Sachar, Safa, Safa, Yisa, Yisa, Basar, Basar, Seichel, Seichel. The Hebrew word is Seichel, the Yiddish word is Seichel. Common sense, common sense. Seichel, or in Yiddish, Seichel, common sense. Line number 5. Sadeh. Here comes a shin. Pashat. Oops, I haven't taught you that letter yet. Well, that's another T. We'll get to that in a little while. This is the right hand dot. Sheva. Eser. Asa. Right hand dot. Tayish. Tayish. Line number 6, left hand dot. Simchat Torah. That's the word Torah. These two words together are the name of a holiday. Simchat Torah. Ashkenazim sometimes call this Simchas Torah because they kind of merge the two words into one. Simchas Torah. It's really two separate words. Simchat Torah. Next word, right hand dot. Shin. Shemone. Shemone, that's the number 8. Esrei, Esrei, that's a different form of the number 10. Shemone Esrei is the number 18. Shemone Esrei is the number 18. Seret, Seret, Hadib wrote. Hadib wrote the 10 words. In English, people call it the 10 Commandments, but in Hebrew, we don't call it the 10 Commandments. We call it the 10 great words. Seret, Hadib wrote. Hadib wrote. Line number 7. Here's the shin, right-hand dot. Shema Yisrael. Yisrael is the name Israel in Hebrew. Yisrael. Yisrael. This is a sight word. You need to recognize this word by itself as a word. Yisrael. This is a sight word. For that matter, so is Shema. Very important word. Line 7. Shema Yisrael. Left-hand dot. Sim. Right-hand dot. Shalom. That's a sight word. Shalom. You should know the word shalom by sight without having to sound it out. Left-hand dot. Oseh. Right-hand dot. Shalom. Line 7 smoothly. Shema Yisrael. Sim. Shalom. Oseh. Shalom. Line number 8. Am Yisrael. B'nai Yisrael. Skip this word. Yisrael. Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel. B'nai Yisrael, the children of Israel, as in mentioned in the Bible. Yisrael, sight word. We're going to go back to line number 2, which has a combination of shins and sins, and then we're going on to the next page in the other book that we like to use. Sarah, Saneh, Samach, Eser, Oseh, Masa. Line number 3. Shara, Sarah, Shama, Sama, Sha'ar, Sason. We're going to go on to the other page in just a moment, and then we will finish up for the day. Allow me one more moment, please. And here we are. This is the book that we've been using primarily for some time, as you recognize it, I'm sure. And we have the shin with the right-hand dot and the sin with the left-hand dot. And by now, you're experts at differentiating the right-hand dot from the left-hand dot. Right-hand dot is the shin, left-hand dot is the sin. Line 1, Shema, Shabbat, Shalom. Line 1, Shema, Shabbat, Shalom. Line number 2, Yisrael. We know that word Yisrael, sight word, Yisrael. It's got the Yud, the Sin, the Resh, the Aleph, and the Lamed. And you should recognize this. This is a sight word. When you look at this, you should right away recognize it. Oh, that's Yisrael. That's Israel. Yisrael. Line number 3, Shema, Yisrael, Hashem. When we have the Hey with the apostrophe, you know it's a respectful way of writing God's name. We're not actually in a prayer service, so we say Hashem, which means the name. Eloheinu, Hashem, Echad. Echad. Let's try line 3 again. Shema Yisrael Hashem Eloheinu Hashem Echad. Translated, hear Israel, God, our God, God is one. This is considered the central element of all Jewish theology and tradition. There's only one God, and God has a relationship with the entire nation of Israel. This comes from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 4. It is called the Shema in nickname form when people talk about it, whether people mention it as a prayer, and it is found in the prayer book, quoting from the Bible, of course, or if they're talking about it just as a concept. Hear, O Israel, referring to monotheism. Line number 4. Yisrael Chai. If you have an followed by a yud, it's I. We talked about that a few months ago. Yisrael Chai. On lines 5 through 13 and then on to 20, you see that this is the shin, lines 5 through 13, and lines 14 through 20, we have the sin. Shin is right-hand dot, sin is the left-hand dot. We'll start on lines going 5 through 13, then we'll go up to the top of the next column. So I hope you can read this clearly. I'll try to enlarge this just a bit more. Line 5. Kadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Line 6. Shabbat, Shabbat, Kodesh, Kodesh. Line 7. Shabbat, Kadsho, Shabbat, Kadsho. Shabbat, Kadshecha, Shabbat, Kadshecha. Mikra'e Kodesh, Mikra'e Kodesh. Mikadesh HaShabbat, Mikadesh HaShabbat, Vayikadesh Oto, Vayikadesh Oto, once more, Vayikadesh Oto. Next line, Mikad She Shemecha, Mikad She Shemecha, Kad Shenu B'mitzvotecha. We remember, since you have the b, mitz, the tzadi has a vowel. It's the two vertical dots. It already has a vowel. So this is a vowel, the O dot, but it needs a consonant. So it becomes its own consonant. That only happens when it's following the two vertical dots, which, as you remember, are called the shiva. That's the name of the two vertical dots, or the half vowel. Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, b'mitzvotav. It's a sight word. We just need to learn it. Kiddush, kiddush. And Ashkenazim pronounce this word as kiddush, which is a prayer thinking about God. And we also typically offer a glass of wine when we say the kiddush. Pardon me, I minimize that. We're going to go to lines 14 through 20. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Lines 14 through 20. Here we go, 14 through 20. The word above it is asa, dots on the left. It's a left-handed dot, so it's sin. Line 14. Lama'a se v'rei sheet. Lama'a se v'rei sheet. Line 15. Malach to asher asa. Malach to asher asa. Line 16. Sheshet yamim asa Hashem. Sheshet yamim asa Hashem. Line 17. Asher bara Elohim la'asot. Asher bara Elohim la'asot. Line 18. La'asot et ha-Shabbat. Literally, to do Shabbat or to make Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat. This phrase is very common. We talk about this a lot. La'asot et ha-Shabbat. Line 19. La'et na'asa. La'et na'asa. Line 20. Shelo asanu ha'aratzot. Shelo asanu ha'aratzot. Well, folks, I appreciate your patience. I'm sorry about those couple of initial mistakes with the shin sin. That's what happens when I read too quickly. I apologize. And I look forward to seeing you at some point in the near future. Blessings upon you. Shalom.